Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The big hand is up at the top, so it must be time to kick off. I'm Judith Patton. I've had the joy of being involved with All Energy since before it was born, back in 2001. I was a lot younger then. Now we're at the 14th show, and delighted to welcome you, and my phone, right on cue, is doing the bit that it shouldn't be doing. Can I ask you all to get out your phones and make sure that they're not doing that, okay? It's my great pleasure to welcome you all here, Lord Provost, ministers, ladies and gentlemen. This, as I say, is the 14th in the series. We have some 450 exhibitors from 20 countries for you to go and visit. We have over 350 speakers, so we hope that your mind is in top gear to soak up all the information that you're going to hear. It's my role to thank our supporters, our sponsors. You will have seen their names and logos come up on the screen earlier, and we will be thanking them over and over again. One of my tasks first thing this morning is to make sure we really get off to a whizzy start, because one of our panelists has to leap off the platform in order to take tea with the Queen. So we have a really tough schedule to get through. So without any more ado, I'm just going to pass over to Johan Sandberg of DNVL, and DNVL are the sponsors for the opening plenary session, so that he can make one quick introduction. Over to you, Johan.
Thank you very much, Judith. Like you said, without any more ado, I would like to ask the Lord Provost of the City of Aberdeen to give his civic welcome.
Good morning, everybody. Renewable energy technologies have developed at a very fast pace over the last 10 years and represent an immense opportunity for Scotland, both at home and overseas. Aberdeen City Council has been active in renewables for more than 15 years, after recognising how this exciting new growth industry would add to the region's energy credentials and be a key contributor to building a 21st century sustainable energy industry. At the Council, in Aberdeen, we focus on three key areas: adopting renewables into the Council's property portfolio, supply chain development, and supporting enabling projects. Across our council premises, we are carrying out a review as how to achieve greater energy efficiency while incorporating renewables into new builds. And through one of our arm's length organisations, Aberdeen Heat and Power, we are developing a heat network across the city centre to enable it to use renewable energy in the future. For supply chain development, we set up AREG, Aberdeen Renewable Energy Group, to support and assist companies enter the renewables marketplace. And two examples of the enabling projects are the European Offshore Wind Deployment Centre, in which AREG is a joint venture partner, and the Council's own hydrogen projects, both of which are intended to significantly reduce costs and accelerate the implementation of specific renewable technologies. It's exciting to stand at the dawn of new industries that can be transformational in reducing carbon emissions, increasing energy security, and creating new employment. However, we must not underestimate the challenges. The same barriers to development exist as they did 10 years ago and must be addressed and overcome. As a local authority, we are considering how we can support the development of renewable energy through contributing to the policy framework and deriving maximum local benefit for our people, our businesses, and academic institutions, as well as working with industry to deliver these projects. We do this through AREG, and I'll tell you just a little bit about that, just a couple of paragraphs on AREG. It's a powerful grouping of internationally competitive, sophisticated energy skills across all the disciplines required for energy project development. The organisation is therefore a key component in our strategy to continue developing a sustainable energy future for our city. I'm proud of what AREG has done and achieved over the past 10 years, particularly as we work in a constantly evolving marketplace. AREG is now streamlining its business to provide even more efficient and effective services to support its members better and provide additional positive impact. So moving forward, AREG is going to be working more closely with Aberdeen City Council, pooling our resources in our drive to build the city's status as a global energy capital. AREG will retain its shareholding in the European Offshore Wind Deployment Centre project. However, its involvement will be managed by the Council's Economic Development Department so that AREG can concentrate all its efforts on creating and delivering new initiatives to stimulate fresh business opportunities for its members. And in response to demand, AREG is opening up its membership to companies and organisations from across the UK and around the globe, and indeed it has already welcomed its first national members. This will expand its networks, foster partnerships, and create new access to domestic and international markets. We'll continue to work in the interests of the members by promoting them at every opportunity, as well as lobbying influential industry bodies and decision makers, providing networking opportunities and profiling the capabilities of our region. A new broader advisory board with a strong industrial representation will be set up to provide additional support for the development of AREG services and will advise on the development of local renewables projects in the region. Looking back over a decade of change, I can see that much has been achieved, and I see that much can be achieved by a concerted effort from committed individuals and organisations. So we must continue that effort into the future and win a significant environmental and industrial prize for Scotland and for the UK. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lord Provost. Right, I should introduce myself a little bit more. My name is Johan Sandberg. I have the responsibility within DNVGL for offshore renewable energy and the services that we provide there. This is a special year for us, 2014. This is our 150th anniversary. And when you turn 150, you can reflect back on your life and you start thinking, like, what have we learned and who are we today? How can we stay relevant in these times of today? So when we were founded, when DNV was founded in 1864 and GL in 1867, Norway alone lost 200 lives per year at sea. And then when we turned 50, Titanic happened, SOLAS was implemented, IMO was implemented, and today less than 200 lives are lost every year globally. So there's been a tremendous transition there. When we turned 100, exploration drilling was just beginning in the North Sea. And we then transferred all the lessons we had learned and all the experience we'd made in maritime into the offshore oil and gas industry. And I think that's when we really started to figure out what our role is and what role do we play in this industry. Because that's really what we are all about. It's about transfer of experience. Transfer of experience between industries, between stakeholders in the industry, always, of course, within boundaries of confidentiality and so on. But also between geographies, so that the mistakes that we make here in Europe should not be repeated in Asia or Americas or anywhere else. And perhaps most important of all, over time, transfer of experience over time. The lessons we learn from history and from the projects we build today should not be repeated in the projects that we build tomorrow. So that's what we do. That's what we do through our standards, our guidelines, recommended practices, and probably most of all through the advisory services that we provide. So we also have a responsibility here. We have a responsibility to be creative. We have a responsibility to provide innovation and perhaps most of all, inspiration. Because I have this motto which I really believe in. I think inspiration unlocks the future, then technology will catch up. So when we now turn 150, we also wanted to create a vision for the future. So we looked at 2050 and see how do we think these industries can develop: oil and gas, maritime, and renewable energy. And I had the privilege to actually be responsible for the renewable energy vision. And that's what we're going to play for you now, and I'll give you a short background to it. We focused on offshore wind. We really believe in offshore wind. We think that's where we can also provide the most value from our history and so on. And we divided the time until 2050 into 3 phases. And the first phase was to see, can we find a market where offshore wind is competitive already today without any subsidies and with no political sort of influence driving developments? And we identified the oil and gas industry right away. We said, can we find parts of oil and gas operations offshore where we can use offshore wind turbines? And we have found that for enhanced oil recovery, for water injection. And I don't know if you saw yesterday, but we had a big press release yesterday, and it was all over the media worldwide yesterday, that we are now launching this new joint industry project to make that happen. In the second phase, between 2020 and 2030, we want to see if we can create a base load from offshore wind. Can we introduce energy storage to such a scale that you can actually power an oil platform or an island or an isolated market with offshore wind power? And that's also in there. And then in the end game of this whole vision, which is the final part between 2030 and 2050, we wanted to have this technology so mature that it can be built anywhere in the world. It can provide clean and affordable energy also to the emerging economies in Southeast Asia, in sort of Brazil and elsewhere, where we see the sort of growth taking place now. So we wanted to place this final vision in a country we thought had one of the most challenges of these times. So we placed it in Japan. The challenges they have in front of them after Fukushima are just incredible. It's a small island, 120 million people, very limited ability to produce renewables onshore, but offshore they have enormous amounts of offshore wind. But they have only deep water, so we need to go at floating turbines pretty much right away. So the name for this vision we've made out of the 3 words in Japanese for new, wind, and island. So it's Ni, Katse, and Shima. And then we thought about Norway and seen what has the oil industry done for Norway. The Norwegian continental shelf has become the backbone of the whole economy of Norway today. So the name of the vision is Nigashima Continental Shelf. So I hope you will take this with you, and with that, I think there's only one thing left to say. Welcome to Nigashima Shelf.